I know you've been down thinking about him again. I know that your heart's been broken. You should try and let it go and start being yourself. You can put on your dress, we can play your favorite song, and I will take care of you, care of you, care of you. This is what we need, this is what we have to do. Tell me, can you feel it too, feel it too? Maybe you should go work that body.
Hi everyone, welcome to Hedgehog Hollow. Today I'm doing the paint with Plaid, and Plaid actually sent me these supplies for this and I've had really good fun, so I thought I'd share a little bit of the process with you and I hope you'll join along next month. So what I'm showing you here is supplies that Plaid sent me plus my Rinse Well, which I absolutely love. So that container is full of water, and when you get dirty water, I'll show you later on, you just scrub your brush out, press that plunger and it automatically refreshes itself using the water in that beaker. So I've also got a couple of sheets of watercolour paper. This is the honeycomb watercolour paper and some paper towel. I've got the new Martha Stewart watercolour acrylics, plus my laptop is open to the side. So this is actually a Facebook Live event that Plaid do once a month. I will start uploading the supplies ahead of time. These are the watercolour brushes from the Martha Stewart range, and the paints are exclusive to Michael's. I will link up all the supplies in the description below for you, plus a couple of Michael's coupons on there as well. So stay tuned for those. So when you get any brush, particularly a pointed brush like the two we have in this set, you'll find that they're pretty crusty. That's the sizing on them, which keeps the nice point. Now, Plaid also recommended that you have some palette paper. I didn't have palette paper, but I do have my Tim Holtz platform, which you see me use all the time. So I'm going to be working on that. So the paints, as I say, they're an acrylic paint, but they have a watercolour gel. So they have a translucent texture to them. We're going to be painting a bag with some watercolour roses. I'm by no means any kind of artist. I can just about manage stickmen. So this is definitely a challenge for me. I did try last month, didn't have a huge amount of success. I think I got too carried away. So I'm going to really try this month to come out with a project I'm happy with. So the first thing they do is explain to you to put some of the acrylic paint down. Now these paints will work on non-porous surfaces like ceramics and things, but you couldn't put them in the dishwasher or anything like that. However, they work perfectly on these bags. The recommendation was to paint them, leave it 24 hours, heat set it, and then you could launder it. They also recommended that you laundered the bag up front and to use a 100% cotton bag, which is the one that they sent me. Again, I'll link all of this up as we get to it. And so I'm just doing some of the practice strokes here, and we worked with one of the mid-tone pinks, and with the yellow you could work with any colours, but it was just about getting to know the brushes, the brush strokes you can get, how you can add the water, get different translucent effects to the paints, and they're really lovely to work with. I'll definitely be expanding my collection. I think there's 40 colours, including some metallics off the top of my head. And of course there's these brushes and other coordinating products. Again, I will link everything up for you in the description below, including some Michael's coupons that you can use as well. So once we have finished some practice strokes, I actually forgot to click record, so I apologise. They used a template for the bag. I just used some of the FedEx box that the supplies came in and cut it down just with some diagonals on those bottom corners. And what they asked you to do was draw out a template. So you can see there I had pre-washed my bag. I didn't get a chance to iron it. I don't even own an ironing board anymore. I'm not allowed to iron. I have a back problem. So I just went with it, and it did work absolutely fine. In hindsight, I should have used my Easy Press, but I didn't think of that while I was busy painting. And so I can actually see my roses through it, which I think if I ironed it, I would have been able to. So I just kind of winged it. So I'm going to start with that lightest pink there. We're going to start painting our roses. And they started off giving us some really great tips on sort of painting these interlocking pieces, and I'll definitely be using this on a card video, so stay tuned for that. A big learning process for me. You'll see that some definitely went better than others. I think the first one started out quite well. The second one started out really badly, but then I really kind of got into the groove and I settled it down. You'll see I keep kind of working on it, and I really like how it came out. I'm pretty pleased with the first one, I think the most. And then of course we did that really big one in the middle, which is amazing. I really had fun kind of working with it, doing something a little bit different. So again, those interlocking strokes, adding in some different tones, flecks of the yellow to kind of tone it all in together as well. So the paint with plaids actually take around about an hour to complete, and it's pretty accurate. I mean, you can really paint alongside everyone, and it all works perfectly. I didn't really have to stop and start too much, apart from when the girls were actually home when I was filming this, so I did stop to chat with them and things. And a couple of times I went to refill my water barrel and get some clean paper towels. But overall, it probably took me around about an hour. And the video was about 45 minutes that I've edited down and sped everything up for you as well. So then we worked onto the grapes that you can see me painting here with one of the large brushes. Tip they gave us was to hold the large brush much higher up so that you kind of have a little bit more freedom with it. Load it up with that lovely lilac colour and then kind of add dots of that dark blue. Now these were supposed to look like grapes. I don't feel like mine looked like grapes, but in the end I think they just looked like a nice texture going around the roses. The theme was for the new Martha Stewart wines that she has selected. So they were sipping those at Plaid HQ rather, with some bloggers and things. So they added the grapes around the roses. There's a new rosé wine, so that's what it was themed around. That was the inspiration for the bag. And so here you can see I've been adding my grapes. Certainly don't necessarily look like bunches of grapes, but as I say, do look like a nice texture on the piece as well. Then we went and we worked with the green, and we also added some of the pink with the light and again some dots of that dark to create buds on there. And then, as I say, we went in with those two beautiful greens. I really love those green colours. I'm not usually a green person, but we added sort of some foliage around the roses, just to kind of frame them up really nicely as well. So I think it comes together. It is like a watercolour effect acrylic paint, which is great. Normally you wouldn't get this effect with an acrylic paint. So you really can make it look like a watercolour, but it also doesn't reactivate if you put water onto it like traditional watercolour. So it definitely has some pros and cons, but I can see me doing some more projects with this. We then went in and added some extra details into our roses. You can see I softened out that top rose that I always thought was a little bit intense, but I really do actually like how it came out in the end and how those strokes of yellow do give it a nice flare too. I did include a quick clip of me clearing up. I know it's something that we always talk about is easy clear up. I just used a baby wipe and I wiped off my surface there on the right, which is an amazing palette area. It's actually designed for ink cubes, but works perfectly for acrylic paints and all sorts of other things too. I will link up the other video I have about that area and the whole map that I'm working on rather than using the palette paper. So it's super easy to clear up, and I did that before we got to the blue wash. I was getting a little bit overwhelmed with all the colours and things on there and wanted to create some more space. So with the blue, you can see there I've actually got my rinse well. The water's a little bit dirty and pinky, so I can press the drain, it drains to the underneath and it refills with clear water. Again, I'll link that up. It's called the Rinse Well. I love this tool. I've had it at least a year now, and every time I paint I use that. And so I'm really adding a lot of water to this blue, and you can do that with this paint. You wouldn't normally do that with acrylic paint, but this really does work, and it creates a perfect watercolour wash, exactly as we would do if we were using our watercolours. So we were going in, filling in any white space with that blue wash, beautiful, like a duck egg, sky blue, really, really pretty. Really love how that turned out as well. And so that's kind of how my bag came together. I hope you've enjoyed the process. As I say, I will be uploading some supplies for next month. Of course, the supplies for this month will be in the description below. Plus, I've also got a blog post there do hop on over to see that too. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or stamp it if you prefer, and don't forget to click the bell that you get notifications anytime we have a new video. It might be another paint with plaid. We've got some really fun things coming up with metalwork, and of course a new Ellen Hudson release coming out this Sunday too. So lots going on here. I'll also link up the video for the paint with plaid so you can see that on there too. And we hope to see you again very soon here at Hedgehog Hollow, and I hope you'll be painting with plaid with me next month. Happy stamping! Bye!
Breakups leave the scars, you don't need to be ashamed. Everyone's got their hearts broken sometime.